going to do project 6, our last project of the semester. And here we're going to learn to use Crystal Ball. We're going to run simulations. We're going to look at what the ending value of portfolio would be given the mean and standard deviation of the assets that are in the portfolio. In this case, we're going to use the funds that we have already collected the data on for Project 5. The finance objectives are we're going to learn the difference between expected return and realized return. So expected return, we're going to use a proxy for that, and that's going to be the arithmetic average return. Realized returns, we're going to calculate the geometric average of what would have happened had we invested a certain amount each year in a portfolio of funds for 20 years. Then we're going to discuss the differences between realized returns allocated among available assets in various ways. So we're going to have we're going to choose 3 different portfolios of funds, 2 fund portfolios. And then we're going to assess the efficacy of using expected returns to forecast ending portfolio values. So that's what we're doing in Project 6. So part 1, I'm calling it the big smoke screen. Dr. Tanner calls it the big lie. I'm not sure it's a lie per se. I don't think that the people who are telling us what we should expect to receive for our returns are exactly trying to lie per se, but I think a lot of them are under the same illusion as other people, or as the people that they're telling what Tanner calls the big lie to. So in other words, fund managers often tell us that the average return for a fund over the past however many years is the appropriate return to look at when we're forecasting how much we'll have at the end of our contributions. In other words, when we get ready to retire, and the order of the returns in the series and the standard deviation of the variation of the returns in the time series makes a big difference in how much we have at the end of the contribution period. And so I don't really think that they're trying to lie. I just don't think that they have looked at this, and I don't think that they know what a big difference it can make to look at the average return versus something a little bit more realistic like these simulations that we're about to create. Okay, so step 1 says open Oracle Crystal Ball before you open Excel. I can't do that because I don't have Crystal Ball on this computer. I need to fix that, I know, but that's kind of a stymie, so you're going to need to come to class for at least part of this project, because I don't have Crystal Ball here to show you the Crystal Ball instructions. So you're going to open Crystal Ball when you have it, and you're going to open up your Project 5 spreadsheet once you've done that, and then you're going to take this returns and you're going to go move or copy sheet, and we're going to copy it to a new book. Make sure that this new book is opened under Crystal Ball. So let me do it this way. So now I've got just a returns page in a separate workbook so that I don't have to deal with all the other pages. So we're going to start with that returns page, and we're going to insert a pivot table. So I'm on part 2, on step 2. I'm going to do it in a new worksheet. I pretty much just always do that. For some reason on this version of Excel, it turns my dates into years, quarters, and then date. I don't need this quarters, and I don't need this one. I just need the years. Okay. Then columns, I'm going to use type and ticker. So I want type and then ticker. And then for the values, I want to use the percent return, and that's going to be the average, which is actually the same as the sum because there's only one value for each average. Okay, so copy the pivot table. So I'm going to copy this whole table, and I'm going to open up a new sheet and make this paste special so that it's no longer a pivot table. Then I'm going to get rid of these places where it says total, So bond total, growth total, international, sector. And in order to select more than one at a time, I can hold down Control while I'm selecting. And then I'm going to get rid of the value totals and the grand total. Then I'm come over here and I'm going to get rid of the grand total at the bottom. Now I'm going to do this thing. I didn't put this on the instructions, but this makes it easier. I'm going to bring bond over. I'm going to have above each fund type, or each fund name ticker, I want the fund type. So it just makes it easier. So now I'm going to change this to where it has 2 decimals. For all of them, and delete all the total rows and columns. I've done that. At the bottom of the data, I'm going to calculate the mean and the standard deviation for each of them. And I'm just going to use the stdevp function, though it doesn't really matter because I'm still going to have the same results whether I use that one or just stdev. And there's my standard deviation. Okay, so now I'm going to insert a row in here. I meant to do that. It makes it a little bit easier to tell where you are in the array of numbers if you do that, so that even if you're over here, you know that this is 2015 because there's a row in between. For some reason I didn't get my standard deviation put to 2 decimal places, so I'm going to do that. Okay, that makes it a little bit cleaner. Now I'm going to select all the data here. I'm going to do data analysis, and I'm going to do a correlation matrix. And I want to tell it that my input range is B3. Well, I don't know why it's saying B4, but it's B3 through Z24. Group by columns. Output range, I've already specified because I did this earlier, but B28, so right underneath. And I want to make sure that I've clicked labels in first row. So now it tells me the correlation matrix between all the data that I've got here. And I'm going to again make this number a little bit easier to read by taking away some of the decimal places. You can also make this percentage with 2 decimal places, but I don't think it's really necessary. I don't think I'm going to have ties. I'll give it one more just in case. Okay, so I'm going to create, this is part 6, you're going to create 3 separate 2-fund portfolios. The first one is going to be 2 funds with the highest standard deviation. The second one is going to be a bond fund and a stock fund with the lowest correlation. And the third one is going to be 2 stock funds with lowest correlation and positive average returns. So for all of these I want positive average returns. So first thing I'm going to do is make sure that all of these are positive. So I don't have to worry about mine. You might have to worry about yours. Make sure that you eliminate any funds that have negative average returns from your consideration for portfolios. So I'm going to choose 2 funds with the highest standard deviation. So the easiest way to do that would be to sort these funds. This is the reason that I put the fund type on the top here. I'm going to sort them by the standard deviation. So I'm going to need to sort left to right, not top to bottom. And I'm going to sort by row 26. And the one with the highest standard deviation is the 2 with the highest standard deviation are FSELX and FPBFX. Those are mine. They won't be yours, more than likely. Okay, so that's portfolio 1. Portfolio 2 is the portfolio with the bond fund and stock fund with the lowest correlation and positive average returns. So these are my bond funds. Again, all of them have positive average returns. These are my bond funds compared to these, because these are stock funds. These are all stock funds. Even though some of them I'm calling sector funds, they're still stock funds. Okay, so these are the ones I'm wanting to consider, this group. So I'm going to look for the one in here with the lowest correlation. So I'm just going to go min, right there. So that's the one. Ooh, I forgot to write the other one down. Okay, so I will in a minute. So that's the correlation between FSCSX, FMSFX, and then I also want to write down the correlation between those, and I'm just going to type it in because then I don't have to worry about cell referencing when I paste it. The same thing on this, so that's 0.753. Those are very highly correlated. 0.753. Alright, so I just want to write those down so that I have them, because I'm going to need them when I do crystal ball. Then 2 stock funds with the lowest correlation and positive average returns, so I want to make sure that those are stock funds. So I want to eliminate these first 5 columns and use only these funds. Make those darker blue, and I'm going to find the minimum is negative 0.130. So I'm going to find that. This is a lot of numbers, so I think I'm going to do a little trick here, and that is conditional formatting. So I'm going to do home, conditional formatting, highlight cells rules. I'm going to format cells with cell value less than or equal to this number, and I'm going to format it using red fill, and that should highlight that for me. Here it is, and that's for FDGRX. And USTCX. And the number is negative 0.13. So those are my funds that I'm going to use for the 3 portfolios. I'm going to copy this table and put it over here. You don't have to do it that way, but that way I think it's a little bit easier. It's kind of there at my fingertips when I need it. And if you want to, you can get rid of all your format changes that you did just by reformatting and doing no fill. So now I'm ready to start on step 8, and this is kind of like sort of like the second part, but second part of the first part. So I'm going to stop here. I think this video is long enough, and we'll get started on the next part in the next video.